Hello there. My name is Gabriella Noack, and I'm running for Santa Cruz City Council, District 6. I am a minimum wage worker, a volunteer tech educator, an educational equity organizer, a Cabrillo College graduate, and a soon-to-be UC Santa Cruz graduate. Most of all, I'm a young voice. I'm running because I think that it's time for someone who represents Gen Z to be this new voice in the City Council, somebody who is a renter. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Okay, no worries. So, watch the timers. Okay, I'll watch the timer. Hi, my name's Renee, and this is my last term trying to run for City Council. I'm here because nobody was stepping forward until the last day. I would have helped you, but here I am, and I'm happy to serve. I really want to focus on projects that we've been getting through, and I want to continue them. I really also care about the young people in Santa Cruz, and I've spent 20 years working in public education at a Title I school, and that's how I carry myself at council.
All right, let's just jump in. How should the city address the UCSC-related housing demand without overbuilding? You first.
Okay. Okay. Here's the thing. The regions have complete authoritarian control over how many students come to Santa Cruz. And when I first became a city council member, I thought, oh my God, UCSC is the worst landlord in town. I can't believe they charge these exorbitant rents, and that's the problem. And having spent the last 6 years on council, I've learned a lot. And one, they don't get any money from the state to build housing. Two, if they build housing in town, it comes off our tax register. So when they bought the Hilltop apartments, those are no longer a property where we collect property taxes for. So I've realized that instead of working in an adversarial relationship, it's time to cooperate. And so when Ryan was talking about that Red Tree property, I was one of the people who was like, this is not gonna land well. People don't want to cooperate with the university. That's not what voters want. But we realized if we have 2 of the buildings for students and 1 for workforce housing, that's a compromise. And I think that helps because it alleviates students from taking single family homes, and it helps preserve workforce housing that's desperately needed in our town. And with the public-private partnership, we're still getting those property taxes that we desperately need to pay the bills in Santa Cruz. And so I think collaboration with the university, and unfortunately, building more housing on campus is something that's not popular to some folks, but it's something that needs to happen in order to keep that balance.
Same question. Same question. Yeah, how should the city address UCSC-related housing demand without overbuilding?
I think it is important to go cooperatively, and it's also important to hold them accountable. So last week, I went to the UCSC Student Family Housing, and I talked with the student families there. They told me that they're facing an eviction. They've been facing an eviction for 2 years, don't know exactly when it's going to happen. And their only other housing alternative that they've been giving, which is the new student family housing, has a $700 a month increase and has 20% less housing. While I was walking around student family housing, about 2/3 of it was empty. Wow, 10% of my peers at UC Santa Cruz are houseless. So, although we do need to cooperate with them, I think there's some things that we can hold UC Santa Cruz accountable for, like revamping and taking care of their housing rather than destroying an entire complex that's less than 70 years old. Oh, okay, I still have more time, great. I think that we do need more housing on campus. I know that some people are not privy to it, but just like that example that I gave, there's actually areas that we could be utilizing that have already been built on and can be housing people. I think the way that the city has held the school accountable through a lawsuit is also a great move. Because UC Santa Cruz constantly is getting rid of their affordable housing. I've been there. They're expanding to 2,800 students. Thanks.
Okay. All right, I'm going to start with you again.
Okay.
You're the incumbent, and you've already served on the city council. It's again been kind of a period of major debate over housing, homelessness, public safety, all those questions. What do you consider your single biggest accomplishment in office, and what is the most important thing you hope to achieve if reelected?
Honestly, I'm proud of a lot of the things we've done on my time on the council, so I can't choose one. But I would say, having served during multiple federally declared emergencies, the wildfires, the COVID pandemic, multiple storms where the wharf collapsed, where Westcliff collapsed, I would say the reduction in street homelessness year over year because of our policies and our implementation of services that we've standed up. And so I would love to see all of those continuing into the future. And moving forward, there's other things I would like to do. I'd like to continue to work towards more workforce housing. I think we're missing the missing middle. When people think of affordable housing, they think of what's affordable to them. And that's not what it means by the state. What it means by the state is what you're seeing being built at Pack Station North and South. And if you don't like big development, you can't say you like affordable housing. So I think we need to rethink how that is. And one thing I'd love to do is work with some of the developers that have built some of these apartment buildings where they can get past that 10-year mark where they're not going to be sued by people who purchase it. There's like an echo, I'm sorry. And work to try and create some condo conversions like we did over on Grandview where people can get into home ownership. And that's something that I'd like to do in my next term.
And Gabriella, so the current city council has made a lot of decisions on homelessness and housing, city services that shape everyone's daily lives. So tell us how you think they've done and what would you do differently if you're elected?
Well, I appreciate all the people who've served our community, especially you, Renee. 6 years is a lot, so thank you for that. There's a lot of things that we agree on, and there's a few things that we would do differently. I think we really, really need to make localized labor one of our most pressing requirements for new building complexes. Our downtown expansion project, which is one of the biggest projects that Santa Cruz has seen in years, was done by a Texas developer and used non-unionized labor contracted out from LA. Actually by a company that has years of labor abuse allegations. I think it's very important that we think about the long-term local economic stability of the developers and the builders unions that we are working with. Another thing that I really want to emphasize is that I think we need to be careful about who we let influence us as a city as a whole. I think it's very important to give that platform to grassroots movements, to nonprofits, over development companies, over real estate unions that oftentimes have too much say in local politics because of how they donate money and who they have personal connections with. I understand it's a small city, but it's important that we represent the voices of everybody. Thank you.
Okay, and Gabriella, you're next. Okay, at 24, you would be one of the youngest elected officials in Santa Cruz ever, history. That would bring a perspective that isn't often in City Hall. How do you respond to voters who may question whether you have enough experience for this role, and what specific skills or life experiences have prepared you to make complex decisions on housing, budgeting, and public safety?
Thank you. I'm going to stand up for this one because it's very personal. I get it. I'm 24. It's young. It's younger than we're used to. And we're also working in an environment that we're not used to. Technology is changing the scape of our workforce and our government, and it's integrated into our government, whether we like it or not. I have intensive training in understanding technology systems and the impact that they have on our society. I've been grown up with the looming threat of technology and whether we're going to use it for good or bad. I also come from a lot of unique life experience. I might be 24, but I've worked years as a blue-collar worker, and additionally, I'm actually a child of an open adoption. I kind of consider myself a bridge between experiences because I have one family who raised me who's upper middle class, actually owns properties and rents them out. And I have one family who is generationally disenfranchised and faces systematic issues of houselessness and incarceration. I understand both of these perspectives, and I understand that sometimes there's conflicting interests, but a lot of times there's not, because at the end of the day, we all just want to live, work, and enjoy our city. So, yeah, I have a lot of unique experience to draw from. I have a lot of experience teaching technology, utilizing open source technology, and I really think that my youth is going to be the one to change the world. Thank you.
So Renee, I guess the other side of the question is for you.
Yeah.
So, as an elementary school teacher, a mom, let's embrace this.
No, I'm not a mom anymore. I have a man and a woman. They're all grown up.
You have a different perspective.
I do.
And so, but how then do you make space for young leaders and new voices in city decision making? And why do you think your experience is essential at this time?
Here's the thing. While I've been on council, we've worked to bring in the Children and Youth Bill of Rights, and we've made that a central policy for every decision we make on council, is incorporating how the youth in our community are impacted by any decision that the city makes. We have 7,000 students in Santa Cruz City Schools alone, another 20,000 people probably under 25 at the university. That's a huge amount of young people in our community. On the flip side, I think we are the county that has the most aging population as well. And so we have a vast degree of ages in our community. If we have the most seniors in our community per capita in our county, and a huge number of young people, I think I'm right there in the middle. I definitely identify as an older person, but I still have my young man and woman and my niece and my nephews on the younger end, and my students every day have my finger on the pulse, and I understand how people of all ages in this community interact with things that we do day to day.
Great. All right, we're going to move to quick questions, but only like 35-second responses. Sorry.
That's okay.
Short. Okay. So, ongoing budget pressures. This is to you first, Renee. Ongoing budget pressures.
Sure.
Costs,
Sure.
Services, limited new revenue. What's your top spending priority, and what specific program, service, or area of the budget would you reduce to cut to pay for it?
I have not. I've done a budget preview, if I'm being honest, and I think there's actually not as much of a cut as people think we have. And so I think each department has done their best to shave off the things through attrition that they don't need. And so I don't think we're going to have significant cuts like you're saying.
What's your top priority?
For cutting?
No, for spending.
For spending.
For spending priority, and then you have to have a trade-off. If you spend more, you have to cut something.
Wow, okay, that's a really tough question. I think we need to ensure that we have salaries that are competitive to recruit and retain our workforce. The Santa Cruz City has like thousands of employees that are working every day to keep our city functioning, and we need to protect them. So what we need to do is make sure that we're protecting them with compensation.
Same question. Top spending priority, and what would you cut?
Yeah, I agree. I think we really need to prioritize our local workers. I think we can do that by prioritizing local building projects. I think, we also need to really maintain livable wages for our city workers. Those are the people who take out our trash, who handle our parking, who really make our day-to-day functioning great. And I'm really proud to have the endorsement of SEIU 521. That is our city workers. I'm proud of them, and I think that they deserve livable wages and they deserve competent health care upon retirement.
Okay, questions then about transit and road improvements in your district. So what's needed, where would you look first to spend money on roads and transit?
Okay, I'm gonna give an interesting answer. Okay. We need to use every tool in our belt about the housing crisis, and part of this is not just high-density apartment buildings. We have those. We need to spread out housing, not density in our neighborhoods, because we don't have the infrastructure and the roads to have highly congested areas. Like, on Mission Street, there's multiple apartment buildings going up, no parking, and every one of my neighbors that I'm talking to, knocking at doors, they're worried about it. They say, I already have to deal with all this traffic. I can't park anywhere. What am I going to do?
For me, I think it would be looking towards our Vision Zero policy that we're already kind of working towards city and county wide. And so I think some areas where we still have room to grow is Bay Street, Western Drive, finding safe routes to school, and finishing the rail trail countywide are my top priorities in terms of transportation infrastructure.
All right, we're going to turn to the candidates, the questions that the candidates have for each other. So, I can't remember whose turn we are on now. Who's first? Gabriella, you want to go first? Okay.
Renee, as someone who has served on the city council for 6 years, I want to say, what do you think my greatest weakness could be if I was on the city council? And more importantly, what advice would you give me so that I can turn that greatest weakness into a strength and best show up for Santa Cruz, whether that's as a city council member or just as a community member?
I think for you, the biggest challenge you'll have, and I don't want to say weakness, it's a challenge, is that you haven't been in Santa Cruz long enough to establish relationships with people. So I think the thing you would have to work on is building relationships with people in the community in order to understand them and serve them. And that's what I think you probably have to work on.
Okay, may I respond?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I guess.
I love that. I'm an extrovert, and I think my idea for that would be that I'd love to host specific District 6 monthly or bi-weekly meetings just in the local park or in the library, because, I meet a lot of people when I'm walking on West Cliff. I know a lot of my community, but you just can't get to everyone, no matter what job you have, no matter how long you've been here. So I would kind of have little parties in the park, and we could just talk.
Great idea. Great idea. Okay, my question for you is, we live in a complicated district. I think all the districts are complicated, but specifically because we have half the university, we have housing, we have industrial, we have businesses. But I want to ask you, can you name 5 businesses and their owners in our district and what challenges they're facing and how you would help support them?
That's a good question. How long do I have to answer this?
90 seconds.
90 seconds, okay. Well, I'm gonna go with Erin, who owns Companion Bake Shop. She has a lot of the same problems that most Santa Cruzians have, and that's just really high cost of functioning. We have high service costs, the price of ingredients is going up, and talking with our local business owners, they're also having high turnover of employees because employees can't have stable housing. So I think there's a couple things that we can do. One, we can look towards workforce housing. I totally agree with you on that. We need more of it. And that can really support local businesses, that can support businesses of all kinds. I think that we should think about tiered property taxes based off of quantity of properties that places have. And basically this targets corporations, corporate landlords perhaps, and creates a tax pool, if you have 5 or more properties. And in that tax pool, we can use that for a fund for small businesses who maybe, when they're facing hardship, like in that COVID crisis, we can give them some loans or some subsidies. And also, a pool for no interest loans for new businesses. I also really want to focus on new businesses because we have a lot of vacancies, and I'm talking to new business owners, and they're saying that this permitting process is making them start so much in debt. So I think we need a streamlined permitting process, and we need a local community small business council that reaches out to new businesses the second they sign a lease. Thanks.
I agree. I think that's probably part of the problem is some of the red tape at City Hall. I've been working with my friends Hans and Heidi that have H&H Fish, the people that are turning over West End Tap Room, and it's the red tape that's been a problem and the changing building codes. And so having served on the board of directors of the League of California Cities, the one thing I've worked on is pausing the building codes so people can catch up. And that's something that I'm really proud of. I would say retail theft is a big problem for some of the West Side surf shops. And the homeless encampments along Delaware have been a huge problem. And so I think moving people along with the oversized vehicle ordinance, although Alicia Cool loves to hate me, I'm proud of that. So thank you, Deb Elston, and everybody that helped bring that forward. And I guess that's all I have to say.
Okay, all right, we're gonna move on to a quick, we haven't had time on this in any of the rounds, so we're gonna do here a very quick lightning round, just a couple of quick questions, quick answers, and we'll be done. So here's the first one. What would be something that you would do, a few things you would do to make the city safer for bikes? Gabriella.
Ooh, quick bike lane building. You know, a lot of counties around the area have built massive bike lanes for $15,000 all over the town. I'm a proponent of the Santa Cruz Rail Trail, and I think that we need more of these quick, fast bike lane solutions. I also think that we need to think about pedestrian safety and really visit some of those intersections that we have up on the Upper West Side. A lot of people have been dying, and I know that we have permitting processes approved for safer sidewalks, but that's going to happen in 3 years. We need quick solutions.
Bicycles?
Bikes.
Okay, bike safety. We've already been working on it, partnering with our nonprofit people in Bike Santa Cruz, Ecology Action, Education, and Advocacy. And I'm already working on state policy around e-biking. So I think I'll just continue with that.
Okay, we're going to Renee, your perfect Santa Cruz weekend. Easy.
All right, hiking with my buddy, dinner with my family, gardening, and maybe even a dump run.
Dump.
Okay, call me crazy, but I'm going to start it with the 5 a.m. farmer's market shift because I love working at the farmer's market and I get to eat Companion Bake Shop cookies. That rocks. I'm going to get off at 2 p.m. I'm going straight to the beach. Getchels. I look, the waves are perfect. Grab my surfboard, grab my friends. We go for a surf. We come back. We cook. Maybe we even cook at Natural Bridges State Beach because we love to barbecue there. Watch the sunset, and then I'm going to go over to Lighthouse. Maybe it's a Wednesday evening, and I'm going to dance on the grass with all the hippies.
Okay, how about art and culture? Let's just do a quick round of that. What would you do? So the Arts Council, Santa Cruz Arts Council, has a study that shows that art and culture has generated $70 million in this county, 35 in the city. What can the city council do to connect art to tourism and art to tourism more here?
Right.
Yep, go.
I'm a proud salsa dancer, and Salsa by the Sea, we're seeing our summer permits go away. That brings a lot of tourism, which brings money. It's also one of the most culturally significant reoccurring events in Santa Cruz that's been going on for 24 years. This is an example of one of the few third spaces that are going away. I think that we need to really protect our cultural events, and if we see reoccurring events like this that really brings passion to the community, we should consider it being a publicly sponsored event like brought up by the city, and we can do that with other arts events as well that are reoccurring all the time.
Okay, I would say we could continue to have our First Fridays, our dancing in the streets, and collaborating with the Arts Council and giving money when we can to support local artists and supporting youth in engaging in the arts and in the community. Also seniors and other people, disabled residents that have need opportunities to express themselves. I think it's really therapeutic too. So just working with our nonprofit partners and partners that are out in the community already and giving money when available from city funds.
All right, last question. All right, you get one superhero to solve one Santa Cruz problem. Who's your superhero and what is the problem? I don't know anything about politics.
Okay, it's gonna be this. Yeah, this is gonna be creative. I'm gonna have Mr. Cloud Bedman. And for everybody who doesn't have a safe place to sleep, he's gonna put poof, a magic flying bed, and it's really comfortable, and it's made out of clouds, and there's rainbows all around it, and everybody's gonna have a bed, and it's gonna even be under a redwood tree if they want, or it's gonna be under a roof if they want, and maybe there's even some bedside snacks, because I think that, you know, houselessness is a really, really big issue in Santa Cruz, and yeah, if I had a superpower to make one thing go away, it would honestly be that.
Okay, I'm not creative. I'm not artistic. I'm looking at Jillian. I went to Arbor Day today up at Meter Street Park with my student council and planted 60 some odd trees. I'll say tree woman to come in and help give more money to Parks and Recreation, to help Leslie Keaty to plant more trees in our urban forests and help us have a better place to live. I'm sorry, I'm not good at imagination.
No worries. Okay, well, there we have it. So trees and cloud beds. Thanks so much. Thank you all.